after work, came home, and removed the rear suspension. Gonna go ahead and clean all these parts up, the calipers, and well, basically the whole suspension. Just basically clean everything all up, and then paint it black, and then also do the undercoating on here. I still got to remove the filler neck from the gas tank, and also pulled off the rear bumper support. So this is going to be remade into the rear crash bar, and pulled off the exhaust, of course, so I can do the undercoating. And there's the other side. No major hang-ups or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the lines, because I'm going to run the lines through the inside, the brake lines. And also I have to buy the new bushings for the lower control arms on these, because they are gone. And yeah, the rear suspension is off, so I'll take that, clean everything off, and I'm going to go ahead and buy new rotors for these, and then just paint everything like I did the front suspension. So that's about it for today. So I just picked up, or received a package from UPS, and I had ordered this a couple of days ago because I had applied that Raptor liner to the inside of the vehicle. I had bought a tinted one with an orange, comes with an orange packet that you add on inside the bottle, and then you spray it. Well, that orange that was in there was really, really bright. And so I noticed when you basically, when you put the paint or the tint inside the bottle, it was basically like a urethane paint, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the hardener when I'm ready to spray into the bottle, and then add some of the paint that I have for the body and what I use to paint the engine bay, and that way it'll match. So with the urethane paint that I have, I'll just add, and it's really not much at all. It's like you add like maybe, I don't know, like half a cup or something like that into this bottle. And I had bought one bottle thinking that it would do, pretty much the whole firewall and the front, floor pans and rear floor pans, but it only did the firewall and most of the front floor pans. And so I bought 2 bottles this time, so I'll make sure I have enough. And so yeah, that's the small update that I finally got these in, and I should have got more, but I got 2 packages, and this was for the subframe. They're cup washers for the 10AN bolts that I got, and I should be getting the bolts in tomorrow so I can finish dressing up that subframe. And so I might actually need more of these, because when I took apart the rear of the section of the suspension, I noticed that there was quite a bit of 10AN bolts in there that I'm going to have to order some more bolts to replace the ones that I'm taking off. And also I ordered, I was just going to use stainless steel washers behind these, but I figure I might as well go all out, since I am, and get the orange anodized washers to go behind these. So I ordered a pack of 20, and hopefully that'll be enough for the front end and for whatever I need in the back end. So last Thursday, today is Monday, I took my valve cover and the radiator with the fittings to be welded on. Well, actually, I took them to get a quote. Somebody local, somebody referred me to them, and I was like, all right, I'll take my stuff over, and hopefully they can do it, or it won't be too expensive. And so I took it, and they said, well, you're going to have to leave it, and we will call you with a quote. So, that was Thursday afternoon. Friday didn't hear anything. Saturday didn't hear anything. And it was already like 3:30 today, Monday, and still didn't hear anything. So I decided to call them, and I said, basically what I just told you. I left my stuff here. I wanted to get a quote for it, and needed to know how much you were going to charge me to weld on these 4 fittings. And he says, well, we don't do radiators because basically he wasn't confident in his work, I guess. He said that in case the welds didn't work or failed on the radiator or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. So he said, well, we can do the valve cover, which is same thickness of material, smaller fitting, but all right, cool. How much do you want to charge me for this? And now, mind you, everything is already prepped. I've already sanded it off, all of the paint, and cleaned it, wire brushed it. This is raw machined aluminum. So basically, if you want to go the extra mile, get some acetone, wipe down both pieces, stick this on, and clamp it, and then weld it, So he was like, all right, cool. So if, just weld it on. That's all there is to it. And this has a circumference of about 2 inches, maybe, 1.5 inches. So yeah, 2 welds, one here, and then I had asked to plug up a hole here, and so total maybe 4 inches total of weld. He wanted to charge me $80, $80 for this. I paid $90 for the valve cover. I'd hate to see how much he would have charged me to weld these onto the radiator. I would have probably ended up spending $200-300 for this. So I just told him no. I'll just pick them up, and they were sitting on the same spot that I put them when I left them. I walked in. There's 2 guys there working. I went and I picked up my stuff and walked right out and put them in my truck. Nobody asked a single question. That's a $300 radiator. And somebody could have just walked in, picked it up, put it in their car, and take it off with it. And of course, they wouldn't have known what happened. I won't recommend at all these people to do any work on anything. Especially if they don't even have any confidence in their welds. And they're working on heavy machinery. Yeah, I don't think so. This is nothing. If you're working on backhoes, large machinery, heavy, things that move heavy, rocks and gravel, whatever. If they don't have any confidence in that, imagine them working on heavy machinery. This is not a way to do business. So this is just one of the things that I found trying to build this car in a small town like this, where you don't have a lot of resources, not a lot of options. If I had a welder that could do aluminum, I would have done it myself. But I might end up having to buy a welder to do it myself, because this is ridiculous. Charge me $80 to weld on these 2 things right here. So here is one bottle of the Raptor liner that I used for the front. Now this is after I did this color. You can see the difference. This was the color that you can order from online from Raptor Liner. They don't specify what kind of orange color it is, but this is the orange that it is compared to this color. And as you can see, this color matches that color. So I redid the front end. That was one bottle, and the way I did it, I still don't know if it's going to work because it needs to dry, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work, was I just, I have one more bottle left, and I used the paint that I'm using for painting the car, engine bay, whatever. I'm using that paint to put inside the Raptor Liner bottle. This is the bottle of hardener, and what I do is I add the bottle of hardener first, and then fill up the bottle with the paint the rest of the way, and then just shake it up, and then hook it up to the special spray nozzle that you need to spray this stuff, and then just go over the car. So I have one more bottle left, so that should be enough to do this back area right here on the floor pans. The rest of the back area, which is going to be exposed, which I might not even have carpet, is going to be painted the gloss color that is in the engine bay. So that color will be in the back where all that junk is at. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up one more bottle and then spray it on there and see if that does it, which I hope it does. So the sun is going down, and I just finished the second bottle of the Raptor Liner, and I was able to go ahead and get this this whole floor pan area and the firewall area all done. So it matches a lot better than the first coat I did. That area there that's exposed is where the e-brake cables run through and all that, and I'm just going to touch that up with some paint because all that's going to be covered up. And so yeah, so there it is. All I have to do is let it harden overnight, and that's that. So yeah, it's pretty easy to do. Just use the equipped spray nozzle that comes with the kit, and but yeah, it took 3 bottles to do this whole inside, so or this half of the vehicle, I guess. So if I wanted to do like the whole thing, you know, like the whole back area and the sides and all that, I would say I would probably need about 6 bottles, maybe even 7, to do the whole thing. And they do sell big kits like that you can do. I saw a guy on YouTube. He did his whole truck on the outside with it, and I'm not sure how many bottles he went through, but yeah, he did the whole thing. The only problem that he found was that the dirt on the outside, if it gets like really muddy, it kind of digs into the crevices of the liner, and it's harder to take out. But like I say, I'm actually going to put carpet over it, and so the only reason I did this was because the carpet's only going to go halfways. The back end is going to be exposed with the roll cage, and so yeah, I want it kind of all match, and plus it helps with sound deadening, and it also helps with sealing up any cracks that I might have missed when I welded or used the seam sealer. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do that. So, and I didn't want to go with black, so this was the other option. Alright, so I am now fabricating that back or rear crash bar, and basically what I'm doing here is I'm using that DOM pipe that I have. I think it's 1.5 inch to fabricate that crash bar. basically this is going to be the mounting point. It's going to take be this area right here on the crash bar. And what I'm going to do is right here cut an angle down to here, and then cut a hole or drill a hole here, and then weld on two nuts, kind of like this right here. And I was trying to figure out how to make this area, because basically this is when I put the bumper on with the fog light kind of slides into this area. So I wanted to fabricate a pocket out of this stuff to give it enough room so the fog light would fit. So this is what I'm going to do. The crash bar basically goes like this, mounted like that, and right here I put a 90-degree cut and then welded it, and then it's going to go to the back, and I'll cut another 90-degree like you see right there, and it'll go from here across to about right here, I guess, or right here, to match the other side. And that'll give it enough room for the, hopefully give it enough room for that crash bar, for the fog light. So, yeah, I'm kind of looking to see where basically where the dirt ends, right here. And I'm thinking that once I cut this pocket or 90-degree bend, and it'll come right to the end of that, where that dirt line is, I guess, right there. If it doesn't work that way, I'll have to cut maybe a piece on the back or something, I don't know. But that's my plan. I don't have the car here, I'm at my shop, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this 90-degree bend, weld on another piece up to here, and then cut another piece of square stock like that and weld it onto the back and see how. So here it is, finally finished. I did that 90-degree kind of esque turn deal, and I measured out the holes, drilled them, and I actually found a tap with the right threads before I was going to weld a nut on the other side, but I found a tap that works. So I tapped the holes. This is the bolt that holds on the bumper, so you can see that those are the same ones. So yeah, so I did that, and it actually, if I put it right on top, you can see that it, maybe you can't see. There it is. So it's kind of even with this line right here, the pipe, or the DOM pipe, and then towards the back, if I line it up, it's even there, and back over here it clears the area where I needed it to put that fog light. And so yeah, so this is all lined up. I got the room. I think it's gonna clear. I won't know until I put put it in the back of the car and see if everything lines up. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, I'll have to do a little bit more finessing, I guess. But there's the crash bar on the rear. So I'm gonna go home after work, put it in, see if it works, and if everything works out good, then I'll do the Raptor liner on this and the wheel wells in the back and the rear end of the car. Alright, so I got home, and this is the old bumper that I had on with the light already on. and I got it on. It looks like it's clearing the cutout that I made, or angle. Only problem is the hole is off, like an eighth of an inch, which means either one of two things. I'm gonna have to fill in the hole and re-drill it, or just make the hole bigger. I don't know yet. The right thing to do is to I mean, it's off on this side too. Same thing. I mean, it's like an eighth of an inch off. I mean, I could, like I say, the right thing to do is fill in the hole and redo it, but the easiest way is just to make the hole a little bit bigger. I don't know. Well, we shall see what happens. But yeah, here it is with the bumper on. It's not bolted on. That's how it looks with the crash bar on. So, it's a little too late now. The sun's already down. And it rained a little earlier, I guess, because the inside of the car is full of rain, or full of water. As you can see. Hopefully it didn't mess up the liner. I felt it this morning and it was dry. Oh yeah, it's just wet. All right. So I'm gonna dry that out, and then maybe tomorrow, after I get out of work, I'll go ahead and spray the undercoating, or the raptor liner, on the bottom part of the wheel well, and do the coating on this. Oh, and by the way, I mounted the crash bar for the front, and it actually looks like it came out pretty good. All the bolts lined up pretty good. This weekend I'm hoping to do a color sand and a final clear coat on the engine bay, so I can start assembling the front suspension. Once I get the front suspension on, I can put wheels on it and I can roll it around, because I know when I paint the body, I'm going to have to take it to a paint booth, because I want it to come out clean, and that means putting it on wheels. So today I finally got in all of the bolts for the subframe. I had to actually order all of these online, and they have to come from overseas, so they take a while to come in, and I had to order the cup washers in an anodized orange, because I was going to order all of these from Downstar, and he doesn't carry orange, so I want everything to match, so I had to order these from ProBolt, which is a company in Britain or the UK, and I got them sent. Of course, I have to wait 2 or 3 weeks for those to come in as well. So what I'm doing is when I take apart something, I write down the size of the bolt and what I need when I assemble it, and then I have to go back and order the bolt the right size, thread pitch, all that stuff, and then find the cup washer that'll work with it. So that's the reason why this is taking so long, but this is done so far, and hopefully this weekend I can finally start assembling it, because the whole front end suspension is done, except for the hubs and bearings, because I had to order those. But I can still put them on and then assemble them on the vehicle. And I'm currently cleaning up the rear suspension. So yeah, I was having trouble taking off some of the bolts, and then this, I had replaced this a long time ago with the energy suspension bushing, and now it's taking forever to try and take off. It's just rusted in there, so I think I'm going to have to replace it with the blocks. What's it called? Replacement unit, you know. So I'm going to have to do that and then clean it up after I try and take this out somehow. I've been hammering on it with the hammer for a while and it doesn't want to come out. I know it only comes out one certain way, so yeah, once I pull that off, I'll be able to finally clean up everything, repaint it, and then the rear suspension will be pretty much complete. I have a couple of things that I'm missing, so and all the bolts on these ones I'm just going to keep factory, except for things like the lower control arms and the hardware for the subframe brace, and yeah, that's it. So all the other bolts are going to be you know, the regular bolts. I might just go ahead and just clean them up and might paint them, I don't know. But yeah, that's this guy. But this is done with the cup washers and all the bolts. I am going to replace this motor mount with the black one, black anodized. This is the original one that I had with the engine, but it's just, you know, it's all dried up and cracked and stuff. So I'm going to replace all this with the black anodized motor mount when I get those in. I was just making sure all the bolts lined up and everything. So I went ahead and refinished these rear trailing arms. I put a wire brush to them and then took off like the really heavy duty stuff, and then I sprayed some degreaser on them and then used a power washer to kind of spray off the stuff that I couldn't reach, and so that did a pretty good job. I went ahead and painted them black, and I've ordered the hard race bushings that go inside here. So those should be in hopefully in a couple of days. These rear calipers used to basically look like this. As you can see, they're pretty nasty. And I think I'm not quite certain, but I think I'm like the second or third owner of this rear trailing arm, which is off of like a Integra GSR, because the Honda Civic EH series comes with just the drum brakes in the back, so I replaced this whole setup in the back, and also so I painted these just a silver, give it a stock look, and then painted all this stuff in the back here as well. And then I redid the lower control arms made by Blocks, and because these were originally anodized, same color as this, like a matte finish black. So I just painted them, and so the all I'm waiting on is the bushings to replace these, and then I gotta order the new rotors to go on here, and of course new brake shoes, and then the rear suspension is done. So here is the undercoating done on the bottom, or the back end, and I extended it all the way to the back over here. I got a little bit of overspray on the hatch, but it doesn't. I'm going to be replacing all this with that Kevlar unit, so I wasn't too worried about that. But I got all this done, so it's all sealed up. And under there as well. Looks really nice now. And also got the rear crash bar done with the Raptor liner as well, so that can go on. And so, yeah, everything is done on the bottom. I even got underneath, I don't know if you can see it, but I got underneath there as well. So I bought four bottles of the Raptor liner in a kit, and I only used 2 bottles to do the underneath of the front end, all the way under here. So basically the whole undercarriage got Raptor lined with, and it's all sealed up. So I can, once I get this clear coat on the front end, which hopefully will happen, I think, let's see, today is Thursday, maybe Friday or Saturday evening I'll be able, if it doesn't rain, because it's starting to rain now, but if it doesn't rain tomorrow, I'll be able to start wet sanding it, getting it nice and smooth, and then getting that final clear coat on. And then Sunday, I have the day off. For now, I don't know if something else comes up, but for now, I'll be able to hopefully start assembling the front end suspension, so I can be able to put on the subframe and the steering rack, the front coilovers. Well, basically the whole suspension on the front end. And then I can start working on the body, getting all of this nice and smooth. I still need to cut these glasses, rear quarters out. And I bought some stuff to put in here. It's supposedly some sort of a rust converter or dissolver. So I'm going to sand this all down to bare metal up to here, and then put that stuff on here and see if that works. I'm also going to use it on these rear camber adjustment pieces. They're really bad. They're really rusty. So I'm going to put some of that on there and see if that works, and then paint those. And then pretty much the rear suspension will be done. And I can start putting all that together so I can get the rollers on. I don't have the wheels yet, and so that's the only thing I miss. Well, not the only thing, but one of the things I'm missing. And I think I'm going with the TE37s. I want to get the cobalt blue ones to go. I think it'll match with the orange. I don't know. I know they clear the spoon calipers with the larger diameter rotors on the front end, so that's why and I've always wanted the TE37, so I'm going to probably go with those. I've always wanted also the Defi fins, but those are more old school, and I'm kind of wanting to look, kind of a modern look on this vehicle. So I think the TE37s is the route that I'm going with the cobalt color on them. And then I think that would look good with the spoon calipers behind them. I already ordered the rotors for the back end, which were slotted and drilled. And I already got the rear suspension all cleaned up, just waiting on the bushings. I actually ordered, I thought I had ordered hard race ones, but I ended up getting the K-tuned bushings for the back. So, yeah. So, once I get that done, the next thing on the list is tackling the roll cage on the inside, which means I got to get all this stuff out and clear it all out, which needed to be done anyways. But yeah, so I got all the piping ready for the roll cage, and I got all the connections. All I got to do is bend the pipe, weld it. Oh, and I had to order another MIG welder because mine gave out. So I upgraded a little bit. I don't know. Hopefully it'll come in pretty soon. Otherwise, I'll just have to be using my MIG or TIG welder to weld all that stuff, which would actually looks a little bit better because with the MIG welder, it kind of has a bunch of splatter all over the place. So, but we'll see. Hopefully it comes in before I need it. So, yeah, here it is. All of this is done. Looks really nice. Making it look brand new after 10 years.